you don't want to come up on there. And then we have a survey. I know Lindy plopped that survey in our chat. She will also be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions along the way, feel free to pop them in there, and we will address them as we go along. All right, so today my plug for Adobe Spark, I love it. Video is great, which is what we're focusing on, but they have a lot more options for graphics. It is a huge site, an online design platform that we get free. It helps you create these beautiful graphics, web pages, video stories, and it takes you step by step so you can make them in literally minutes. So it's very convenient for our fast-paced lives. The ones that Adobe Spark focuses on is the post, which could be like for social media posts, but I also use them a lot too for icons and buttons and all sorts of things. And then they make beautiful web pages as well. Let's see if you would like to get logged onto Adobe Spark and do this right along with me. Once we get into the logging in part, I won't be coming back to my slideshow as much. We will stay focused in the video part of Adobe Spark. But if you have never logged on to Adobe Spark before, this is what it looks like. If you want to do it with us, you can either type in this webpage, spark.adobe.com. We also put the link in the chat box, and it's in the slideshow as well. If you have never logged on before or signed up, you would click this Start Now button, and it would take you through the process of signing up. You would continue with Google. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in with my school account. And then that's where I get to continue with Google. Now it does ask you this question. It asks you if you want to use your Adobe ID or your Enterprise ID. You are going to want to choose the Enterprise ID because then that uses our school, our district account. It usually takes a minute to load, but as it's loading, we'll just let you know that it's up in the air right now as far as student capabilities to use this. It originally used to only be 14 and up through our district, but we're trying to get them to lower that because this could easily be used with upper elementary students as well. But I use it more just for myself and making design stuff for my slideshows and all of that good stuff than I ever do with the kids. So it's great in that capacity to help you with designing. Once you log in, oh, it took me right to my video that I wanted. But here's where it probably took most of you once you get logged in. It has all sorts of projects that you can create. In order to create a video, you can do one of two things. You can either click on slideshow, and notice once you click on it, the video shows up underneath. Or if you click over here at create a project, you can select video. Basically what Adobe Spark Video looks like is as you're creating it, it looks a lot like creating a slideshow, creating in Google Slides. That's essentially what you're doing. You're creating 30-second slides. But then when it publishes it all together to make it nice and smooth and look like a beautiful video. When you get to this point, this is where you can put in a title. If you're not sure about a title at this point, you can just skip it. And then it asks you if you want to start from a template or if you want to start from scratch. They do have many template options. Which would be very convenient, especially working with students. So if you want the students to describe something, you could do a show and tell template. And once you pick, you decide which one you want, you would just click pick this one. If you're looking to have your students share something like a memoir, you could do the tell what's happening. There's all sorts of options. Today we're going to start from scratch. No, each step it takes a little bit to load because there's so much to work with. All right, when it opens up for Adobe Spark, it gives you your first page, it gives you a credit page, and it gives you like a call to action, which is hidden. But it's just kind of there in case you want to encourage somebody to do something once you have started your video. Up here at the top is where you're going to use the toolbar. So this will control some of the features of your entire movie. For the first one is layout. This will set up the layout of your particular slide. So each slide can be a different layout. For the first one, most of the time I either do full screen or I do title in text. Notice all it does is it changes these plus signs. What these plus signs do is they let you add your text, your videos, or your photos to your movie. All right, so if this is my title screen, I'm going to click on this plus sign and it'll let me add my title. And then down below, it could be a continuation of the title. It could be your name, the student's name. If you wanted to add a photo in the background, right over here, there's another plus sign, and this one will allow you to add either a photo or a video to your slide. For a title slide, I'm going to go with photo. You know, you have options when you're uploading your photo into Adobe Spark. Clicking upload photo will draw it right from my device. Or, and I highly recommend this, link your Google Photos in your Google Drive if they aren't already connected, because then you can go directly there to get your photos if you have them saved there. All right. I am going to upload from my device. All right, and just for this, for our sake right now, I'm going to put in this one, and it embeds it right into the background for you. Just a couple easy steps, and it looks beautiful already. Now this part down here is our timer. Right now it's set at 4 seconds. If you want it to go longer than that, you can click on it and just drag the cursor to extend the amount of time. The most time that you can get on a slide is 30 seconds. And I'll show you some workarounds if you want a slide to be longer than that in a little bit. But just so you know, that's as long as a slide can be. And you know you can adjust the length of a slide because it has this border around it. Slides that have videos on it default straight to the length of the video. So it would not have this border around it, and therefore you could not adjust the time and have it go shorter or longer. One of the great features of this for students, for younger students where you may want to narrate, like an accessibility feature for those students, we have a microphone. By clicking on the microphone, it lets you add voiceovers. It lets you narrate. There's all sorts of options you could do for this within your classroom and for your students. But I'll show you how that works. You can't just click once and let it work. You have to hold the microphone to get it to record for you. Notice it counts as I'm talking and tells you how many seconds you've gone. When you're done, you just let up and it stops recording. And if you want to keep recording, you certainly may. This button over here lets you preview just this slide. So if you play it, you can hear what you have recorded. And if you like it, awesome. You can start over again if you do not like it. All right. Now, let's say we want to add a slide, because most of these will not last us very long with one title slide. So to add a slide, we're going to come over to this plus sign, and it automatically plops a slide in there. Once again, we can change the layout. Now, as we're going, you may decide you want to add a certain theme. If you're adding a bunch of pictures to backgrounds, you don't need too much of a theme, but you can go through and see what's available for themes to change up your font, to change up your colors. This would be the way to do it. All right, so let's say I like this font and I want to use, that's how it would look. I click on it, and then you can switch the color combinations right within the color snippets down below it.
That's gotta
go. If you add your brand up here at the top, what this will do, if you have if you have something that you would consider your brand for social media, if you have an icon or an image, you can set up your whole own theme based on this brand, and it will save right into your theme. Okay. When we resize, we can have the choice of either a widescreen or a square. Widescreen is awesome for what we're using it for now. If you're planning on the students or you viewing it on a TV or a computer, Chromebook, widescreen is perfect. If you think people are going to see something on social media, that is when you're going to use the square. Now let's say we want background music going all through our presentation. This is where you will add background music. Now you can't add it to just a slide. It just goes throughout the entire thing. So what we do is you can either pick one of these already created options here, or you can add your own music. Now you can only choose music that's on your device. So whatever you have, whether it's on Google Drive or elsewhere, you do have to load it to your device to be able to upload it. You select it, and it goes right on in for you. You can adjust the volume right here. And if you want the music off or on, here is where you can turn it off or on, toggle it back and forth. All right, I'm going to put mine back to widescreen now. How are we doing, Lindy? Do we have any questions so far?
Sorry, I had to unmute there. Nope, we're good. There was just a question about the paid version versus the free, and I know it's free for now for all.
Yeah.
But eventually that'll probably go away.
Right now, everything is free. So,
right.
Yep, you'll get everything. All right. Now, when we are playing around, let's add a video to it. All right, we're going to put in let's do this one with the caption. Now, to add in a video, just like the photo, you click video. And just like the music, the video has to be saved to your device. So make sure you download it on that before you get started. It just makes it simpler that way. And then, well, this is one that I made for my son's birthday party for fun. So you click on it, and then what you do is you need to decide what part of your video you want to be included on this page. So remember when I said each slide is only 30 seconds long? If your video is longer than 30 seconds, it won't fit on there. Mine is 20 seconds, so that's fortunate. If there was only 10 seconds of it I wanted, I can just slide to the part of the video that I want to include, right? If you press the play button, it shows you what it would look like so that you can adjust it and make it perfect for your video. When you're done, you just click save. It saves your video clip and then it pops it right into your video. Now, in a minute, I'll show you what you'd have to do if you want a video that is longer than 30 seconds and the workaround of getting past that 30-second limit on the video. All right, so this is what your video then looks like once it's loaded into Adobe Spark. All right, let's add another slide. I'm going to add another video, and this time I am going to choose, I'm pretty sure this one was bigger than 30 seconds. Yes, okay, it is. So here, I'm going to make it as long as my 30 seconds. I'm going to save it. And then what I'm going to go back and do is add another slide and only put in that last 10 seconds or whatever it is that we're missing on this slide. Okay, there we go. Let's add another slide. I'm going to add the exact same video, my X-Men video. And this time I'm going to go to the 30-second mark. And then make sure it's all the way to the end and click save. So now it will include my whole video into my Adobe Spark video. And this would work the same if you're trying to teach something or the students are trying to relay information that takes longer than 30 seconds. You can just add another slide. If you want to have the same background on your slide, all you have to do is duplicate it. So if you click on your slide, there's these three dots right here. If you click on it, you have the choice to delete this particular slide, duplicate it, or playing it from that point. So what I do is I just duplicate it. Then you can go into this one, make any changes that you may want to make. But then this gives me a minute with this particular slide and should give enough time to talk about it then. I mean, you can go as long as you want. Add 3 slides for 1 minute and 30 if you need it. But that's the workaround. All right, now let's talk about previewing our video. Once you think you have your video ready to go, there are a couple ways that you can preview it. If you want to preview just a slide, you can press the play button like I showed you before. If you want to preview it from a certain point, maybe I wanted to just start it from where the X-Men video started, just to make sure it looked okay. You press that slide, and then you press the 3 buttons and you press play from here. So then what it'll do is it'll play from that point and play through the whole video. Now you notice that I had that my music was going in the background. So that's a clue. I should probably turn my music off there. All right. So now let's play again, see how it sounds. There we go, much better. Now, if you want to preview the whole thing, see what it looks like, you would do the preview up here at the top. You can, I'm going to fast forward a little bit for the sake of our time. All right, so you can preview it, make sure it looks good, it sounds good. You can always go back in and make changes in anything that we've done throughout this process. All right, once you are ready, you can share it with people by going into share. You can download it if you wanted to download it on your device. When you click share, you do have to publish it. So basically what it does is it comes up as a movie alive in the web. So you can share it with people that way. When you publish it, you're going to pick a title. I'm just going to call it my trial movie for now. It allows you to pick a category. Right? I'm going to pick education, and then you can decide if you want your name on there as an author or not. All right, you can turn that off or on if you want your name on there. I'm not going to create the link right now because it takes a long time, but you would just click create link and it would do the circling link. And then once you're done, it, here, I'll show you what it looks like on the slideshow. Publishing a video, here we go. All right, so it gives you the several options when you're ready to publish. You can either, it gives you a link right away where you can copy it, and then you can email it to somebody. You can load it into some sort of other software. You can also put it directly into Google Classroom from Adobe Spark as well. That's the great thing about going in with Google. It will be attached to your Google Classroom. You can tell it which class you want it to be posted in. You can create the assignment right there if you want. All right, now the last thing we need to talk about is collaborating. You can collaborate on these videos. The only issue with collaborating on anything in Adobe Spark is that it's not real-time collaborating like it would be on a Google Doc or a slideshow. Only one person can edit at a time, but it's still a great way to collaborate. In order to do that, you click the plus button right here, and then you can type the name or the person's email address, and they should pop up for you. You can give them a message, hey, here's our class project, let's work on it, and then invite them to collaborate to work on it with you. You can then go back in and work with those settings. So let's say you're working with this person, but now you don't need to work with them anymore on it, you're done. You can remove them if you'd like. And you can add more people. All right, so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of what or how to use Adobe Spark. Let's take a look and see how it can be used in a classroom. So Adobe Spark has some great lesson plans and student hyperdocs already created for you. They're linked in the slideshow, so you can just click and go right there. The Education Exchange is a huge database of teaching resources, and it's organized by either subject or grade level or Adobe product. So if you just want to look for Adobe Spark video stuff, you can look for it that way too. And then you would just search up here for what it is that you're looking for. So this is a great place to look for inspiration on things that you can do with Adobe Spark. There is also these are Google Docs. So it's an already created lesson plan and a hyperdoc just getting the students started. If they've never done it before, it's a hyperdoc. It teaches them how to get logged on. It teaches them how to use it and helps them to create a project with it, which is pretty cool. Basically share and go. And then these resources over here have some great ideas, not only on ways that you can use videos as a teacher, but how you can use them with your students as well. Adobe even has some self-paced PD courses that you can take sometime if you want to learn more. Now let's see what some of the videos look like once they're completed. This is an example of a student one. The student had to create a video on panthers. All right, so that showed you how they used the voiceovers. There was a little bit of music in the background. It kind of showed you how even though it was slides, it's very smooth once it's published. All right, there's other great ideas on those websites and ways that you can use Adobe Spark. All right, how are we doing? It looks like we're about up for time.
Stephanie, there's one question in there that I'm not able to answer here that Denise asked. When sending an email, is there a file size max, and do recipients have to have Adobe in order to open the file?
Okay, say that one more time, please.
When sending an email, is there a file size max? That's the first question.
You know what? I don't know the answer to that question.
Hey,
we can, yes, Tanis.
Stephanie, sorry, I'm hopping back and forth with my kiddos, but one really quick option is to convert it to a YouTube and make it unlisted if you wanted to send it to somebody, and then that way you don't have to worry about that file size limit.
Yeah.
Or the recipients, it looks like, to have Adobe in order to open the file.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, or you could save it right, like after you download it, you could save it right to your Google Drive and share it that way. Get a Drive link for that as well.
That was the only question in there. I think everything else is answered.
Okay,
and it's
awesome.
jumping in and helping too. So
very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, I will hang around for a little bit if anybody has any questions, but thank you so much for coming. It was great to have you today. Next week, I believe, are planning another session on Adobe Spark, one of the other tools that they have in there. So come on by and check that out. Please feel free also to fill out our survey. It helps us to know and personalize it for our staff and teachers and know what you are interested in learning as well. So thank you everybody for coming. Awesome. It should be in your chat. Perfect.
Mommy.
And guys, I just wanted to give you a quick heads up. My son is in first grade, and he actually, he actually was able to make one himself using the iPad. And so we had asked IT to push it over to the iPads. Yeah, you did great. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we're trying to give that access to more of our littles, because this is a great tool. I saw that Kristen just commented in the chat that it's a great elementary tool, and I couldn't agree more. And Tanya said that too.
Great.
So,
Tanis, I had asked Matt Smith earlier today, because there was on the website it says that it has to be the older kids.
Okay.
So he wasn't 100% clear on
What next?
yet whether or not they could use it 100%. He didn't give me a definite answer, so I was still kind of waiting on that.
Okay.
But I'm assuming if they pushed it to the iPads, it's probably fine.
I would hope so, right?
We put in a couple of help desk tickets a while back to have that changed, and I just don't know if the stuff on the district website has been updated.
It's definitely not.
It is okay.
I talked to him today. He said it wasn't updated yet.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. Don't worry. It's good for them. They can use it. They're
Awesome.
Marie, was there discussion about this being middle school mostly, that you guys were using it there and we should use iMovie in elementary?
No, we haven't had that discussion.
Okay, good.
But it is free all the time. I think, the paid versions are more for like business than the education. Gotcha. So you have access to all of it. So yeah, thanks. I just wanted to come and kind of find out some tips and tricks, things I don't already know.
Yeah, and just really quick, one of the helpful tips, and we'll put it on the playlist for the on demand for everyone after we put Stephanie and Lindy's webinar, is just how do you initially log in? I think that's one of the hiccups is like you see that Google button and it's misleading. So I always just send a quick like, hey, this is how students do it really quick by going to teacher and student account. And I think then that alleviates some of that, like, do I have to pay for it or not? So we'll definitely have that offered in the playlist as well for you guys.
Thank you, Tanis. Any other questions?
Are there directions?
Thank you, Stephanie and Lindy, for hosting. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good job. All right. Stephanie, are you good with me stopping the recording?
I am. Yep.
Okay.